can't be free. Everybody wanna judge, say I'm a thug, I'm a player, I'm a simple, why I can't be me? When I walk up in the store, all the Karens get to staring at me. Put my heart in my music, it's still on my sleeve. Everybody been portrayed.
So fam, what's the word? It's your boy Spiritual Trey, and that is now episode 57 of the Soulful Thoughts blog. And today we gonna be talking about who's your God. If y'all been paying attention to the channel lately, y'all know my last two videos I've been breaking down who, what, and where is God, right? And how to get closer to God. Today, instead of teaching, I just want to ask y'all a question. Who is your God? Think about it just for a quick second. Who is your God? Well, obviously, it's the spirit that created you and your reality, right? Or a group of spirits that created you and your reality, right? Right. So, the spirit that runs your religion is your God, right? Like if you're a Christian, you would say your Christian God is your God, right? If you're Muslim, you would say your Muslim God. Buddhist people would say their Buddhist God. We all have our, well, most people have their different gods that they worship, right? Right. So let me ask y'all this. Who do y'all think is the government God? Like what God do y'all think the government worships? Y'all know how like on money it says, in God we trust. Which God do y'all think they talking about? You know, they never really specify it, do they? They never really say in the Christian God we trust or in the Muslimic God we trust. They just say in God we trust. Which God do y'all think they talking about? I can pretty much guess what everybody's answer gonna be. For most people, it all depends on your region and your family. If you were born into a Christian family, you would assume they're talking about the Christian God. If you were born into a Muslimic family, you would assume they're talking about the Muslimic God, so on and so forth. There's over 5,000 different religions. Safe to say I would get over 5,000 different answers if I asked everyone on the planet, which God do they think the government is talking about when they say, in God we trust. So let's think about this. If God is the creator of realities, what God created the government's reality, at least from their perspective? What God would they say created their reality? Because I'm familiar with the normal people's realities. Most of you guys worship your gods because of the family you were born into and the region you were born into. There's no other way around it. You can say it's because of old grandma and all this. Grandma worships the religion because her family worshipped that religion when she was born. There's really no deeper than that. It doesn't get any deeper than that. So I'm familiar with how the regular person looks at who their God is. And by the way, the word region is in religion for a reason, but I digress. So I'm familiar with why the regular person will look at whoever their God is as their God. Let's really broaden our minds a little bit. What God created the government's reality, a reality in which they run the world? Remember, government, break it down, govern the mental. What God helped these group of people govern our mentals? What makes me think that they're governing our mentals? Well, let's think about it. Don't they call themselves the Illuminati? Well, they probably don't call themselves that, but they allowed that term to get as big as it is. Trust me, it wouldn't have become such a well-known term if they didn't want it to get out. So they're pretty fond of that word Illuminati, right? Illuminati. Sounds like the word illuminate, right? Illuminate. And what does illuminate mean? Illuminate basically means shining a light to help someone or something see better. Okay. So why would they call themselves or allow the term Illuminati to get out there? Before we even dive into who their God is, we got to think about this. Maybe because they truly are helping us see the world in which the way we see it. And the way you see reality your perspective is your reality, right? So the government is forming and creating our reality when y'all think about it. I mean, when y'all look at that being outside that's growing out of the ground and has all of these green things growing out of it, what makes you want to call that a tree? This place I'm in right now, what makes us call this a home? The spirit that created our reality, what makes us call it God? Because of the language we use, right? Did we create the language? Obviously not. Who created the language? The same people who created the school system, right? I mean, that's where we got so good with our language at, right? So the people who are running this world are illuminating the world with their vision. The way that they see life is the way that we are trained to see life. So it's safe to say whoever their God is, whoever their God that's forming their reality has to be the same God that's forming the reality in which we live in, right? Okay. So maybe all of the different gods that people worship all come from the same source. The people who's actually pushing out the knowledge for us to even be conscious of the word or the existence of a being named God. Okay, so who is responsible? What spirit is responsible for this reality that we share that was created by the people that call themselves the governed of the mental? Who is the God or gods of that? Obviously, the people who created the religions, right? The people who observed life and came up with their own perspectives, created stories behind their perspective, or maybe even what they witnessed. The people who created these stories and pushed them out, and the people who built these churches, the people who called these thought systems religion in the first place, has to be the true source of the reality we live in, right? The reality that's helping these certain group of people behind the scenes stay in power. So I know you think your God is some spirit outside of this realm, but the word God doesn't even exist outside of this realm, does it? It doesn't even exist outside of the English language, people. The word God is exclusive to the English language, even if it does exist in other languages. It doesn't exist outside of this realm, because all languages were created within this realm. They told you to look at that being outside and call it a tree. Don't y'all know we got the power to give a title to whatever is in our reality? We got the power to name that thing outside whatever we want to. We don't got to call it a tree. We just accept whatever reality is placed upon us. Some people think it's by God, but like I just broke down, maybe your God is the group of people that even created this reality. The reality in which a God even exists. And when I say a God in this context, I'm speaking of a particular spirit. I'm not speaking of, because we know the real God is the space of infinite possibility. I broke that down in my last two videos. Tapping into the space of creativity is what allowed the people to even create this reality that we are sharing right now. But if God is truly a self-aware being, there has to be a birth of the self-awareness, right? There has to be a time where your God became self-aware. And from that point, it started forming thoughts and feelings and desires and forming realities and worlds out of those desires, connecting with other spirits with those desires, and forming shared worlds with those desires that eventually manifested into the physical world. So it really doesn't matter what your beliefs are. You can be African, spiritual, religious. It doesn't matter. Whoever your gods are has to have a point where they became self-aware. There's no debating that fact. And if there's a force outside of us that's helping us become self-aware, that force itself has to be unconscious. Because if it was self-conscious, we're in a cycle of figuring out the source of self-awareness, right? So there's clearly an unconscious force, an unconscious essence in the universe that we all have a piece of, that's helping us be self-aware and form our own individual realities. We're allowing this essence that I'm talking about, and the infinite possibilities, to live through us. Anytime we tap into our creative space or just do anything with our day. You can be mundane and not doing shit. At the end of the day, you're allowing whatever this essence is to live through you and not do shit for the day. So I know y'all are emotionally attached to the illumination of the world, but right now I'm trying to enlighten y'all. We all know that we all have individual minds. We all know that we're in a shared reality right now that was made up of all of our individual minds. But it's something going on to where we're all seeing life through the same lens. We all looking at that being outside as a tree. We're all looking at this place we live in as a home. We're all looking at the little things we get in to move around throughout the day as cars. There's a group of people that are creating our perceptions of life. And if we don't detach ourselves from the ways of this world, we will continue to reincarnate into this world. So, are you going to continue to be illuminated, or are you going to enlighten yourself to detach yourself from this reality that wasn't created by you? I want y'all to think about this. Think about your stereotypes. Think about all of your likes and dislikes. For example, race. Think about how you look at skin color. Were you the one that actually created how people are supposed to look at different skin colors? Was your God the one? Is it a spirit outside of this realm that created how people of different skin colors are supposed to see each other? Or do y'all think it's the people that have access to how history is told? None of us can go back in history and prove anything happened. They have all the power to go do that. Am I saying slavery didn't happen? No, that would be foolish to say. But what I am saying is, who is giving you your perspective of how to look at slavery? Like, who is influencing you to hate the other races around you because of history? When we can easily be thankful for the growth that society did go through. Yes, racism still exists, but at the end of the day, you can be in an interracial relationship and walk down the block and not worry about anything happening to you for the most part. So clearly, society has grown, right? So should we be enamored with the traumas of the past, or should we be happy with the growth of the present? Think about how, why, and where your line of thinking came from. Did it truly come from your God? Maybe your God is flawed then. Why is your God teaching hate? Why is your God teaching separation? That sounds like what the government wants to teach, right? Divide and conquer. The division is how they stay in power. So it's clear your God must be in alignment with the government, right? How else is it? How else would you view it? Think about that shit, y'all. Think about that shit. I really got to go, but think about that shit. Think about not only your racist bias, but every other bias or insecurity that's ever come into your life. Where did it actually come from? Did it come from you and your spirit, or did it come from society? And society is a product of the government's vision. It's your boy Spiritual Trace signing out. Love you, family.
On the beat, start preaching. Feel no evil, see no evil, but peep it. I don't aim for the stars, I want leeches. And the snakes born, I'ma kill the whole species. Rest in peace to all the peaceful preaching. The youngest wildin', but they say they evil, that's kinda reaching. Who really controlling the way you thinking? Find the truth.